Have you ever noticed how some people seem to conquer their entire day before the rest of the world even opens their eyes? It's like they have a secret weapon, a hidden ritual that fuels their unstoppable momentum. What if I told you this secret isn't luck, nor extraordinary talent, but something far simpler and more powerful? Imagine waking up tomorrow with a completely different mindset, where your mornings aren't rushed, chaotic, or wasted, but instead become a sacred time of transformation. A time when you step into your full potential and set the tone for success, calm, and control. What if the key to mastering your entire life lies not in big dramatic changes, but in the quiet, deliberate choices you make in that first golden hour after waking up? Welcome to the art of the morning ritual, the foundation of every unstoppable day. Have you ever wondered why some people appear absolutely unstoppable before most of us have even rolled out of bed? This isn't a matter of chance or sheer luck, nor is it the magic of raw talent. The true secret lies in something deeper: ritual. Those quiet, consistent choices that most overlook, especially during the very first hour of their day, hold immense power. Because here's the truth: your morning is far more than just the start of your day. It's the beginning of you. It's the moment your focus is set, your energy awakened, and your direction defined. If you squander this sacred time, it's not just minutes you lose, it's power. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. They believed the very first act upon waking should be rooted in awareness, discipline, and full presence. It shouldn't be a rush of chaos, distraction, or apologies for running late again. Yet, how many of us live on autopilot, grabbing our phones before our own thoughts, reacting to notifications before choosing our attitude, consuming endless content before even considering creation? And then we ask ourselves, why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel disconnected? Why am I always behind? But here's a question worth asking. What if tomorrow was the day everything changed? What if you stopped treating your mornings like a disposable routine and began treating them as a powerful ritual of transformation? In this episode, I'm going to guide you through 10 simple but incredibly effective morning shifts. These aren't vague, feel-good platitudes. They're rooted in Stoic philosophy, modern psychology, and timeless wisdom. These practices will help you wake up energized, sharpen your focus, and take full control of your life from the moment your eyes open. No fluff, no hype, just practical mastery, one morning at a time. Are you ready? 1. Your morning is the first domino. There's a fundamental truth we often overlook. How you start your day is how you start your life again and again. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads. You can let the noise, stress, and rush pull you into unconscious reaction, or you can step into your day with clarity and calm command. The first hour, how you rise, think, move, and behave, sets the emotional temperature for everything that follows. This isn't just a routine, it's momentum. And momentum, once set in motion, becomes either your greatest ally or your most silent adversary. Mel Robbins put it simply: how you set your day up is how it ends up. If you begin with delay, your mind learns hesitation. If you start in chaos, your thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. But when you rise with structure, presence, and intention, even just a little, you begin to move through your day like someone who's truly in charge of their reality. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers who lived nearly 2 millennia ago, captured this timeless power perfectly. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Before the endless emails, before the world demands anything from you, you've already been gifted something priceless: time, breath, and the freedom to choose how you respond. This is just the beginning of your journey into mastering your morning, and through it, mastering your life. Stay with me as we dive into each of these 10 transformative shifts, one by one, and unlock the power that's been waiting for you all along. If you don't own those first moments, the world will imagine your morning as the first domino. Once it falls, everything else starts moving. But here's the secret. You get to choose the direction. You decide whether that domino pushes you toward procrastination or productivity, toward anxiety or clarity, toward reactive habits or intentional actions. In that single instant, the first 10 minutes after waking, you shape your mood, your focus, your choices, and how you perceive yourself. This doesn't mean your morning has to be flawless. You don't need to meditate for an hour, write pages in a journal, or run 10 minutes every morning. It simply means this: choose your first move carefully, because it sets off a ripple effect. And if you start strong, even if the rest of your day falls apart, you'll return to that strength. That is the power of the first domino. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or glance at the clock, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to carry into this day? Who am I choosing to be right now? Then act with intention, because the very first thing you do isn't just a task. It's a message to your entire system. This is the kind of life I'm building. This is who I am becoming. 2. Get out of bed. No snoozing, no excuses. When the alarm rings and you're half asleep, half aware, you face one of the most important decisions of your day. Do I rise or do I retreat? It may not seem like a big deal. Just 5 more minutes, 1 more snooze. But that small act of delaying your day actually sends a psychological message. I'm not ready. I don't want to face myself yet. When this message repeats day after day, it turns into a habit of avoidance, not just of mornings, but of life itself. Hitting snooze isn't rest. It's a ritual of hesitation. It's the first compromise you make with your potential before the sun even rises. Over time, those little compromises erode your self-trust, because deep down you know that every time you delay getting up, you delay becoming the person you want to be. Jim Rohn put it simply: discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge is built one morning at a time. And the first plank is getting out of bed when you said you would. No negotiation, no internal debate, no drama, just up. That simple act becomes a declaration. I do hard things. I keep promises to myself. I show up even when it's uncomfortable. Here's a deeper truth. The longer you linger between waking and rising, the more space you give fear, fatigue, and self-doubt to settle in. Your brain starts bargaining. Your motivation slips. Your momentum dies. But when you move quickly, when you rise without delay, you cut through resistance before it even has a chance to speak. Alan Watts offers a beautiful balance to this discipline. Stop measuring your days by how productive you are and start experiencing them by how present you are. This isn't about rushing into work or grinding harder. It's about waking up with reverence, treating your time as sacred, not disposable. You get one morning like this, one sunrise, one chance to step into the day fully present. Don't trade that for comfort. So here's the practice. When your alarm rings, sit up, place your feet on the floor, take a deep breath, and rise. Not just physically, but mentally. You're not merely getting out of bed, you're stepping into the role of leader over your own life. You're telling yourself, today, I will not delay becoming the best version of myself. And if you win that first battle, if you meet that initial resistance with movement, your whole day starts to shift. Because now, you're not just awake, you're awake with purpose. 3. Make your bed. Start your day with completion. This is one of the most underrated habits in the world, yet it might be the one habit that transforms everything in your life. Make your bed not for your parents, not for Instagram, and not just for cleanliness. Make it because the first thing you complete each morning shapes how you face the world. It sounds trivial, almost laughably simple. But don't be fooled. This isn't about sheets or pillows. It's about identity. It's about training yourself to finish what you start, to take ownership of your environment, and, by extension, your life. There's something powerful about beginning the day with a deliberate act of order. When the world outside is chaotic and your to-do list feels overwhelming, the simple act of making your bed becomes a quiet anchor. It says, I may not control everything, but I control this. And that subtle psychological shift is where strength begins. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Order brings clarity to the mind." And your bedroom, whether you realize it or not, is a mirror of your mental space. When your surroundings are cluttered, disordered, and neglected, they often reflect, or worse, reinforce the same chaos in your thoughts. But when you bring order to your space, you begin to bring clarity to your inner world. It's not just about visual neatness. It's about creating a sense of peace and direction before the noise of the day begins. Socrates, in his wisdom, reminded us that the beginning is the most important part of the work. We tend to think the beginning doesn't matter. We focus instead on the outcome, the big wins, the visible success. But the truth is, no great achievement begins with chaos. It begins with discipline, with rhythm, with small, almost invisible rituals repeated silently. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately step over an unmade bed, your subconscious absorbs the signal. Something's unfinished. That energy follows you from your kitchen to your inbox to your relationships. But if you wake up and the first thing you do is restore order, smooth the sheets, arrange the pillows, create a space that feels calm, you walk out with the quiet confidence of someone who has already completed something. You don't leave the room with chaos behind you. You leave it with meaningful control. And it's not just symbolic, it's neurological. Completing a task, even a simple one, gives your brain a small dopamine reward. That sense of achievement, however minor, boosts momentum. And momentum is everything. Because motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. And the earlier you act with intention, the more likely you are to stay in motion throughout your day. Making your bed also sets a tone of self-respect. It says, "This space matters. I matter. I'm not living reactively. I'm building something, even in the smallest ways." You're not waiting to feel inspired. You're starting from discipline, and that changes everything. Some people say, "Why make the bed? I'm just going to get back in it." That's like saying, "Why clean the kitchen? I'm going to cook again tomorrow." The point isn't how long the action lasts, but what truly matters is not how long an action lasts, but whether you are building habits that reinforce the person you want to become. That version of you, the strong, focused, calm one, doesn't wait for the world to be perfect. They start by managing what they can control. And when life feels like it's falling apart, sometimes making your bed is all you can do. But even then, especially then, it's enough because it's a statement. I'm still here. I'm still choosing order. I still believe I can create something better, one step at a time. So tomorrow morning, don't rush past it. Don't treat it like a chore. Treat it like a meditation, a training ground, a personal promise. Take a few quiet seconds to transform chaos into calm. Make it beautiful, not for anyone else, but for you. Because your environment reflects your standards, and your standards shape your destiny. It all begins with the first thing you do. 4. Encourage yourself. Give yourself a high five in the mirror. How often do you greet yourself with encouragement instead of criticism? Most people start their day by checking everything outside of themselves. Messages, news, opinions, tasks. But almost no one stops to check in with the one person they'll spend the entire day with, themselves. That neglect isn't harmless. It builds up over time, not as dramatic failure, but as quiet erosion. You begin to move through life detached from yourself. Your inner voice grows cold. The mirror becomes a place of judgment, not connection. But what if that changed? Mel Robbins introduced a powerful idea. Give yourself a high five in the mirror every morning. At first, it might seem silly, even awkward. But behind this simple gesture is a profound truth. You need your own encouragement more than anyone else's. When you high-five someone, you're telling them, "You're doing great. Keep going. I believe in you." So why not offer that to yourself, especially at the start of your day? And this isn't just motivational fluff. There's neuroscience behind it. When you perform a positive gesture while looking at your reflection, your brain releases dopamine, not because of vanity, but because your body associates the gesture with support and success. Over time, that repetition rewires your default state from self-doubt to self-trust. Carl Jung said it best, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Every morning when you look in the mirror, you're meeting the person who will either follow through or fall short. So instead of shaming that person, what if you empowered them? What if before the world judged you, you greeted yourself with confidence? Most people go through their entire day seeking validation. They wait for a compliment, a like, a kind word. And if none comes, they carry emptiness. But when you start your morning by giving yourself that validation, no permission needed, no waiting, you become less dependent on external noise. You move through your day more anchored, less reactive, more grounded in your own worth. Mel Robbins puts it simply, you deserve a little moment of celebration just for showing up. And isn't that the truth? Life is hard. You're carrying things no one sees, fighting battles no one applauds you for. And yet, here you are, waking up, trying again. That deserves recognition, even if it's just from the reflection in the mirror. So tomorrow, try this. After you make your bed and before you touch your phone, walk to the mirror, stand tall, look yourself in the eye, and give yourself a high five. Not with sarcasm, not with shame, but with sincerity. Let that feeling spread. Let that feeling spread, even if it feels a bit awkward or vulnerable. That's how you know it truly matters. Because that mirror isn't just a piece of glass. It's a gateway, and the way you greet yourself through it can completely change how you move through the day ahead. You don't need perfect self-esteem. You just need to stop being your own enemy. You need to meet yourself as someone worth rooting for, because you are. And if you can start your day by encouraging yourself, even just a little, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop needing the world to do it for you. 5. Don't touch your phone. Protect your energy. What is the first thing your hands reach for every morning? For most people, it's not water, not their breath, and not even their own thoughts. It's their phone. That glowing portal to the noise of the world. Before their feet even touch the floor, they've already opened the gates to messages, notifications, opinions, and other people's urgencies. But here's the truth few tell you. Every time you check your phone, first thing in the morning, you're giving away your mind before you've even claimed it. You weren't made to wake up and immediately react. Your nervous system isn't built for that. The moment you unlock your screen, your body shifts into response mode. Your dopamine spikes, your attention scatters, and without even realizing it, your morning, the most sacred, quiet, and powerful part of your day, is hijacked. Epictetus reminds us that freedom is the only worthy goal. It is achieved by disregarding what's beyond your control. When you check your phone before checking in with yourself, you surrender that freedom. You let your peace be dictated by headlines, alerts, or someone else's chaos. And that's not presence. That's imprisonment. There's a reason ancient wisdom always begins with silence, stillness, and breath. Because your first thoughts shape your lens, your first words set your tone, and your first interactions build your emotional foundation. If the first thing you see is bad news or a comparison trap on social media, don't be surprised if anxiety rides with you all day. Lao Tzu said it with piercing clarity. Care about what others think, and you will always be their prisoner. But this applies not only to ego, but to attention as well. If your first act every morning is to scroll, compare, consume, chase, you've already placed your energy in other people's hands. You've locked yourself into their rhythm, their expectations, their drama. But it doesn't have to be this way. Imagine waking up and simply being with yourself. No buzzing, no pings, no dopamine loops, just presence, just breath, just you. That space isn't empty. It's powerful. It's where intuition speaks, peace grows, and priorities surface. The more you protect that space, the more resilient and focused you become throughout the day. So, here's the practice. Put your phone in another room at night, or at least don't keep it within arm's reach. When you wake up, sit still for just 2 minutes. Drink water. Breathe. Stretch. Make your bed. Look out the window. Say something kind to yourself. Then, if you truly need to check your phone, do it not as a reflex, but as a conscious choice. This small boundary might seem simple, but it changes everything because it teaches you that your attention is sacred. Your energy is not for sale, and you are not a machine built just to consume. You are a human being, created to create, to feel, and to move with purpose. Remember, your phone can wait, but your mind and your life cannot. 6. Move your body and mind for 10 minutes. Your mind isn't fully awake until your body is, and your body won't move with purpose unless your mind tells it why. Most people start their day in a state of friction, not because their life is chaotic, but because their body and mind are disconnected. They open their eyes but don't move. They sit still while their thoughts race. Then they wonder why motivation doesn't come and why clarity feels so distant. But here's the truth. Motion is medicine. You don't need to run 5 miles at sunrise. You don't need an hour of meditation or a gym membership. You just need 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of deliberate, mindful movement. And when that movement aligns with mindfulness, something powerful happens. Your physiology and psychology begin to cooperate. Your energy rises. Your thoughts slow. Your presence returns. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." He understood what most of us forget. Clear thinking doesn't happen when you're hunched over, your phone, or trapped inside your head. It happens when your feet move, your lungs expand, and your blood flows. Because your body is not a separate machine. It is your mind's partner. And the moment you treat it that way, everything shifts. You might not realize it, but your emotions are deeply physical. Anxiety often trapped in the chest. Anger, tension in the jaw or fists. Sadness lurking behind the eyes or shoulders. Yet instead of moving through these emotions, we sit with them. We scroll. We numb. We overthink. But Thich Nhat Hanh, a master of presence, offered another path. Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. That's not just poetic, it's powerful. It's intentional movement. It's awakening the body with reverence and grace. When you move, even if it's just a walk around the block, a few minutes of stretching, or some conscious breaths by the window, you're not just exercising. You're making a decision. I will not start this day disconnected. I will not live only in my head. That decision becomes a habit, and that habit becomes identity. Of course, there will be mornings you won't want to move. You'll feel too tired, too busy, too distracted. But that's exactly when you need it the most. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's about a state change. It's about breaking the inertia of sluggishness and reactivating your vitality. So tomorrow, before the rush begins, move. Walk slowly, mindfully. Breathe deeply. Roll your shoulders. Touch your toes. Do push-ups, yoga, or dance to a song you love. Whatever it is, make it yours and make it matter. Because when your body is awake, your mind can focus. When your mind is calm, your decisions are intentional. And when your day starts with even a single act of connection between your thoughts and your movement, you reclaim your rhythm. It's not about doing more. It's about remembering that you are not separate from your energy. You generate it. Success doesn't come from grand, dramatic goals. It comes from quiet, consistent promises kept when no one is watching. We often believe transformation requires something dramatic. Waking up at 5 a.m., a complete lifestyle overhaul, radical changes in diet, schedule, or identity. But in reality, greatness doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency, from doing the small things, especially when they're no longer exciting, when motivation fades, and when no one is there to congratulate you. Aristotle put it simply, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That means who you are becoming is not a mystery. It's not waiting to be revealed in some distant future. It's already forming in the choices you make today, in the rituals you honor, and in the simple promises you keep. Think of it like this. Every morning, you're given a blank page. Every action you take is a word, a sentence, a decision in the story of who you're becoming. You don't need to write the whole book today, but you do need to write something meaningful, even if it's small. Wake up on time. Make your bed. Stretch for 5 minutes. Avoid that toxic habit. Drink a glass of water. Speak kindly to yourself. These aren't minor acts. They're the building blocks of your self-trust. And self-trust is everything. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a signal, I can count on me. And that message accumulates. It grows into confidence, discipline, and inner strength. But every time you break that promise, even the small ones, you chip away at that trust. You reinforce the idea that your word isn't sacred, that what you say to yourself doesn't really matter. And that's where disconnection begins. Mel Robbins said, "Simple promises make you more you." And that's the beauty of this practice. It doesn't ask you to become someone else. It invites you to return to who you already are, beneath procrastination and self-doubt. It invites you to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start honoring your own word, one small act at a time. There's something deeply Stoic about this. The Stoics didn't believe in spectacle. They believed in principle, virtue, showing up every day as students of life in every choice. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be committed. Committed to aligning your actions with your values, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So here's the challenge. Choose one promise each morning. Just one. Not 5, not 10. One thing so simple, you can't make an excuse to skip it. Then do it. Not because someone is watching, not because it'll make you feel productive, but because it's who you said you'd be. Over time, that daily promise becomes a ritual. That ritual becomes your identity. And that identity is the foundation of a strong life. A life not built overnight, but brick by brick, silently and intentionally. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how much you did. It's about how often you kept your word. 8. Create for yourself before consuming from others. Every morning there's a quiet war happening between what you want to build and what the world wants to feed you. The moment you wake up, you face a choice. Do you start your day by creating something meaningful for yourself? It might be a thought, a plan, a brief moment of clarity. Or do you immediately surrender your attention to someone else's voice, someone else's urgency, someone else's life? Most people fall into the habit of consuming before creating. They scroll through social media before taking time to reflect. They check emails before checking in with their own mind and heart. Slowly, almost without noticing, they begin living on reaction. They lose the magic of morning, the purest, clearest time of day, and fill it instead with noise. Not because they lack dreams, but because they are too distracted to remember them. Now imagine this instead. Before the world gets a hold of you, you give something back to yourself. Spend 5 minutes journaling, 10 minutes writing, sketching, reflecting on an idea or a plan for the day ahead. Something, anything, that reminds you you are not just a consumer, but a creator. Jim Rohn once said, "Either you run the day, or the day runs you." And how you start is everything. The world is constantly trying to pull your attention outward, but greatness, purpose, and clarity are born inward first. They emerge in silence, in the space before the noise. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it, but most people never learn how to use it. They give away their best hours to everyone else, starting the day by absorbing opinions, news, and drama, and then wonder why they feel drained by noon. But when you create before you consume, you flip that pattern. You lead, you decide, you reclaim your most sacred resource, your attention. This doesn't mean you need to write a novel every morning. It doesn't mean you must meditate like a monk or paint like a master. It simply means doing something, however small, that belongs uniquely to you. Something that moves you forward, even if just a little. Something that reflects who you are and who you are becoming. When you begin your day by expressing rather than absorbing, you shape your identity instead of borrowing someone else's. You step into alignment rather than reacting. You nurture your inner world before the outer world tries to define it for you. So, here's the invitation for tomorrow morning. Resist the urge to open your apps first thing. Instead, open a notebook, a blank document, take a deep breath, and claim a space that is yours. Write one sentence, sketch one vision, speak one intention aloud, not for the algorithm, not for applause, but for you. Because when you give to yourself first, the rest of the day becomes a reflection of that self-worth. 9. Progress beats perfection. Move the ball forward daily. What if your breakthrough isn't waiting on some mountaintop, but hidden in the imperfect small step you take today? Most people never move forward because they wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect energy, or the perfect motivation. But that perfection never arrives. In its place grows doubt, hesitation, and a quiet kind of guilt. The kind that comes from knowing you could have done something, but didn't. The truth is, greatness is rarely built in giant leaps. It's built inch by inch through small, consistent, often invisible movements. Movements no one applauds, no one notices. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's boring, when it's hard, when it feels like nothing is working. Because momentum is more powerful than motivation, and progress, no matter how small, is always more valuable than perfect planning without action. Science confirms this. Consistent action fuels growth more than sporadic bursts of effort. A study from Harvard Business School identified the progress principle. The biggest driver of motivation and satisfaction isn't massive success, but daily progress on meaningful goals. Not arrival, not applause, not recognition, just steady movement. Nietzsche echoed this truth profoundly. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. If your why is strong, if you remember who you want to become, you don't need perfect conditions. You just need to move the ball forward. 1 inch, 1 step, 1 page, 1 act of courage. That's it. Yet we resist. We think if it's not excellent, it's not worth trying. But that belief is the enemy. It paralyzes us. It tells us if it's not perfect, don't even try. But the Stoics would say otherwise. They remind us that virtue is forged through daily effort. Character is built in repetition, and the only thing under your control is your willingness to act, not flawless execution. So, what does it mean to move the ball daily? It means making progress even when you don't feel ready. Writing one paragraph when your mind wants to avoid the entire project. Choosing a healthy meal when it's easier to default to junk food. Saying no when you usually people please. Practicing your craft for 10 minutes when no one's watching. Following through on the hard thing you promised yourself yesterday. These aren't small things. They are everything. Because every action is a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming. And the more votes you cast, even small ones, the stronger your identity becomes. That's how confidence is built. That's how transformation begins. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. They don't exist. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to do something today that proves you're in motion, that you haven't given up on yourself, that you still believe in the person you're building. So here's your reminder. The work doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done today, then done again tomorrow, and again the next day. That's how empires are built. That's how character is carved. That's how your future self is made real. 10. Your morning routine is who you're becoming. There's a quiet truth hiding in plain sight. Your future is already happening. It's not some distant event. It's being built choice by choice, breath by breath, morning by morning. We love to imagine transformation arrives suddenly, that one day we'll wake up focused, confident, and in control. But the reality is much simpler and more sobering. You are becoming someone right now, every morning, in the silence, in the repetition, in the rituals you either choose or neglect. Alan Watts reminded us, the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. Yet we live as if our best self is waiting at the end of some big event, some success, some turning point. But no moment is bigger than this one. Real transformation begins when you stop outsourcing your growth to the future and realize it's happening every time you choose presence over distraction, discipline over delay, intention over autopilot. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the blueprint. Not motivational slogans, not perfect plans, but honest clarity. Who do I want to be? And then, what would that version of me do right now, at 6 o'clock a.m., before the rest of the world even opens its eyes? Your morning routine isn't just a set of tasks. It's a rehearsal for the life you're building. It's the part of your day when you're least interrupted, least influenced by others, and most in control. What you do in that window matters more than you realize. It defines your rhythm, shapes your emotions, and conditions your identity. You either start as the leader of your day or as its victim. There's no neutral ground. If you begin your day by hitting snooze, reaching for your phone, rushing, reacting, you're programming yourself to live passively. But if you begin your day with even the smallest act of clarity, movement, reflection, or creation. You're programming yourself to lead, not with noise, but with consistency. And the most powerful part is that no one needs to see it. You don't need to post it, share it, or prove it. You just need to live it quietly, repeatedly, because the version of you that feels confident, clear, and capable doesn't arrive by chance. It's built through habit, through repetition, through mornings. So here's the final question. What kind of person are you becoming at sunrise? Are you rushing through life half awake, pulled by everyone else's demands? Or are you anchoring into yourself, choosing discipline, presence, and direction before the world even knocks? The answer isn't found in your words. It's found in your routine. And the beauty of it is this. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to begin tomorrow morning on purpose, because the person you want to become isn't somewhere far away. They're on the other side of the next step you take. Now you know the truth. Your life doesn't change in some distant future. It changes tomorrow morning, in the dark, in the silence, in the small decisions no one else sees. That's where strength is born. In making your bed when no one's watching. In rising with discipline when comfort tells you to stay. In encouraging yourself before anyone else does. In choosing your breath over your screen. Your peace over your pace. Your focus over your fear. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a consistent beginning, because if your morning is full of intention, your day will follow. And when your days align, your weeks begin to shift, your habits sharpen, your identity strengthens, your life slowly, quietly, and powerfully begins to reflect the person you always knew you could be. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about becoming someone whose actions match their vision, whose first hour of the day becomes a sacred contract with their future self, a daily reminder. I am not drifting. I am choosing. I am becoming. So tomorrow, don't just wake up, rise. Don't just react, lead. Don't just plan the life you want. Live it one morning at a time. If this episode helped you see your routine in a new light, subscribe, share it with someone ready to rise with intention, and let us know in the comments. What's the first promise you'll keep tomorrow morning? The world may be chaotic, but your morning, that's yours.